Hey, my friends, welcome to Module 3, Choosing Love as Your Guide. We have taught you how to completely annihilate fear's influence in your life. And once that is done, love, by nature, now has the ability to become the thing that is going to influence your life. Like I said, so we've learned how to annihilate fears influence in our lives. This has opened up the door for love to become the dominant primal force. Let's compare these side by side a little bit before we dive deeper into this. All right. Fear, as I've taught you, operates subtly, often driven by instincts at a subconscious level with subconscious impulses. This affects our decisions without us fully realizing it because we never think at a subconscious level that we are realizing it. Now, in contrast, love involves a deliberate conscious choice, guiding actions and relationships through intentionality and awareness. Complete opposites, my friends. While fear can control us without us knowing, love requires active, mindful engagement to shape our behaviors and our connection. This is important to differentiate between the two. For this reason, if you're going to allow love to influence your life, living mindfully is the key. It is the foundation. It's called what I call present moment awareness. Focus on experiencing the here and now because you only live today. You only live in a moment. Observe your thoughts, observe your feelings, be aware of your surrounding without judgment. Number two, intentionality in your actions. Make deliberate choices. Act with purpose and clarity rather than reacting automatically. I'll give some examples of this later on. And then acceptance and non-judgment. Embrace your thoughts and emotions as they come. Maintain a compassionate and open attitude towards yourself and experiences. Now, why is this important? Listen, we're just human. Just because you have annihilated fear's influence in your life doesn't mean you won't have little bouts with anger or jealousy or suddenly you just react to something without thinking. That's just being human. So you've got to accept something. And as I always tell you guys, lighten up. Don't take yourself so seriously. Laughter is the best medicine, and literally it is, because you've got to allow yourself to be human. What's the big difference here? You're not choosing to entertain thoughts, even if they pop in. That is the key difference here. So, what's the role of conscious choice here? Well, number one, you're going to be intentional with your decisions. Conscious choice means you're actively choosing to allow love driven actions rather than reacting impulsively, I guess is a way I'd say it. It involves considering how decisions align with your values of compassion and connection. So you're just not going to act impulsively. You're going to take your time and think things through of why you're going to make a decision a certain way. Number two, we have mindful interactions. By being aware of how we're going to respond to others, we can foster these positive relationships and resolve conflicts with empathy rather than letting fear or automatic responses dictate our relationships. This is what's going to bring your relationships closer, really eradicate disagreements that may pop up and anger that could develop. Number three is purposeful living. We're talking about embracing love as your guiding principle. This means you're going to be setting goals and making choices that reflect a commitment to kindness and understanding, shaping a life of meaningful connections and fulfillment. This is what we want in our life. So let me share some examples of how this works. Okay, example number one, overcoming the inner critic. Maybe the old pattern would think something like this. You hear in your mind's eye, you're not good enough for this job, right? Well, we do know what? We do know that right away that when we hear the inner critic, we're too much into our feelings. So we're gonna take a step back, recognize that because we're living mindfully, then we're gonna kind of laugh it off and go, okay, let me bring a little bit of balance here. So we're gonna bring some balance into our lives. In our mindful response, we're going to choose to think this. You know what? I have the skills and the experience needed. I am capable and I am ready. You are choosing that thought now because you brought yourself back in the balance, and it's not just the reactive being too much into your feelings that you're just going to stop and entertain that thought. It's okay to have the thought because we're human. We're going to get out. We're going to be sometimes too much into our head, too much into our feelings. But when we recognize it, we can stop and go, ha, all right, a little bit too much wearing my life on my sleeve. I'm going to bring some balance into this now. And this is what I'm going to choose to entertain. I have the skills and experience needed. I am capable and I am ready for this job. And my friends, if I have, as I have said, choosing which thoughts to entertain is your conscious decision. You can accept the inner critic's negativity or replace it with positive affirmations, shaping your mindset and boosting your confidence. Okay, example number 2, making decisive choices. In our old pattern of subconscious living where we just survive, self-doubt leads to constant indecision. Why? Because we question our decisions. Sometimes we doubt if we can do it, but we're not going to entertain that anymore. We're living mindfully and we recognize it. So what are we going to do? Our mindful response, we're going to acknowledge what our strengths are. We're going to trust ourselves and we're going to make informed decisions. We're not going to distrust ourselves. We're going to act confidently based upon our skills, based upon our experiences, knowing that we can handle the outcomes. And my friends, this approach is what helps us overcome the old self doubt. And now, boom, we are acting decisively. So remember, these responses are conscious choices because we deliberately are shifting our mindset, moving from automatic self doubt to intentional, empowering actions. This is how it works, and you've got to understand that. Your old life of survival was a subconscious reaction. Your new life of living and growth is an active, conscious choice. Well, let's expound upon these a little bit more. Involves a deliberate, thoughtful choice based on what? Based upon your goals, based upon your value. It's what they call a proactive approach, where you consciously decide how to respond, whereas reacting is often just an automatic, impulsive response driven by emotions and habitual patterns. Reacting is more about responding to external stimuli without much thought, while acting involves an intentional decision making and self awareness. What are the consequences of reacting? This is the old life. This is what you do to survive. Impulsive decisions. You're acting quickly without careful consideration. What happens quite often? This leads to hasty outcomes, not necessarily what you want. Number 2, emotional responses. You're reacting based on strong emotions rather than rational thought mixed with emotions where we have that balance. You're way out of balance. And then number 3, you've got missed opportunities. You're overlooking better options or potential benefits due to your unthoughtful reactions. Not what we want. What are the benefits of acting? Well, number 1, careful planning. You're going to take time to thoughtfully consider and prepare for actions. You've got better decision making. You're making choices based on analysis and clear goals, leading to more effective results. And number 3, strategic outcomes. Achieving desired results through intentional and well-considered actions. Now, my friends, which one do you want? All right, that is it, my friends. In our next video, we're going to describe in detail what living a life of conscious love is really like. And I think you are going to love it.